Chapter 4 is looking at institutionalizing and legitimizing stratification. I'm not going to hold you to any of this on your test, but I do want to go over the chapter with you. The institutionalization of inequality does refer to the structural dimension, which is the collection of laws, customs, and social practices that combine to create and sustain the unequal distribution of rewards based on class, minority status, and gender. The legitimization of inequality does refer to the social psychological dimensions of stratification, the social definitions, beliefs, and values that serve to support, rationalize, and justify patterns of inequality by making them seem valid or right or moral. Now, there are three key aspects that does underlie legitimization, and one is stereotypes, and these are just generalizations and simplifications which are applied to all members of a group. There are myths, which is used to characterize mistaken, unfounded beliefs, and then, of course, there are ideologies, which is a loosely organized system of myths, beliefs, and ideas that support discrimination against socially defined groups. Looking at the ideology of individualism, there are certainly abundant economic opportunities, but individuals must be industrious and competitive. Rewards in the form of education, jobs, income, and status are and should be the results of individual talents and efforts. Therefore, the distribution of rewards is generally fair and equitable. Then looking at the just world hypothesis, this is the idea that the world is just a place where desirable things happen to good people, while bad people have undesirable experiences. The Puritan ethic, a key element in this religious philosophy was an emphasis on individual responsibility for one's own fate, both spiritually and secular. Then we have the competition theory, which focuses on the clashes that occur when groups contend for scarce resources. The resources can be tangible assets such as wealth, housing, or land, or social capital in the form of jobs, education, or social status. There is a difference between colonialism and internal colonialism. Colonialism described the political control and economic use of weaker nations and groups at the hands of more powerful nations. Today there is a more powerful economic control, such as internal colonialism, which identifies the political domination and economic exploitation of racial and ethnic groups by more powerful groups. The assimilation theory suggests that as succeeding generations of immigrant groups embrace the dominant culture, such as their language and values and customs, they are able to compete educationally and economically, which leads to a weakening of prejudice and discrimination and acceptance on their own terms. Looking at ideological racism, this is a system of ideas that divide the world population into groups, such as races, based on physical traits that are in turn claimed to be unalterably linked to intellectual and psychological characteristics. Now, there are different types of feminism. Looking at the feminist theory under liberal feminism, this locates the main sources of inequality in gender socialization and patterns of discrimination that flow from traditional gender roles. Radical feminism is exactly what it says it is. They emphasize that inequality and the allocation of women to the lower ends of the stratification system are facets of a system of institutionalized physical control over women by men. They do believe that the root causes of discrimination can be traced to patriarchy, which is the persistent dominance of men over women. Then we have the socialist feminists, which locates the origin of women's subordination in the nature of capitalist economic systems. There's a term called paternalism, which defines women as less capable than men and in need of protection and guidance. And like I said, I'm not going to test you on any of this, but I did want to go over it with you.